majority in Congress, they voted to ban gerrymandering in every state, red states and blue states. Do you know how many Republican members of Congress joined them in that effort?
Which one? I'm sorry. Which state did you just refer to?
I'm asking, do you know how many Republicans joined Democrats in the U.S. Congress to ban gerrymandering? All the Democrats voted for it. 0 Republicans voted for it. 0.
It's an odd.
So you can spare me the both sides rhetoric. It's clearly one side that is trying to rig the rules in the middle of the game. This is like 2 football teams coming out of the locker room at halftime, and the team that's ahead says they want to change the rules for the second half so they can win the game. All of us would be throwing food at the TV if that happened. We don't accept cheating in our politics. We don't accept cheating in our relationships. We shouldn't accept cheating in our elections.
I appreciate whatever you just referred to about the number of Democrat congressmen that I'm unfamiliar with who made this against Republican congressmen who opposed it. In my view, Representative, you gave the ballgame analogy. In my view, what has happened here is you've done something in certain states, and you don't like it when it's done in Republican states. And now you're saying you've done the same thing as us. You've done the same thing as us, and we are going to, by the way, if you do it, we're going to ratchet it up even more, in the words of Gavin Newsom.
My party has never gerrymandered in the middle of the decade at the request of the President of the United States, nor would we. The only way this is going to happen in blue states is if Texas executes this power grab. You mentioned Massachusetts. Do you know the party of the governor that signed that map into law? He was a Republican. It was a Republican governor that signed that map into law. So I just want to be clear with our facts, and I don't want to muddy the waters. All of us, whether we're Democrats, independents, or Republicans, we should stand up to politicians who don't want to face accountability at the ballot box. That's exactly what's happening here. And I asked you, if Republican policies are popular, why do they need to redraw these maps? Why can't they just run on their policies?
I'm getting wrapped on time. I'm enjoying this conversation. I want to let it go on, and I apologize. That's such is the nature of cable television.
Don't you just hate it when you're totally, definitely enjoying a conversation where your guest is humiliating you on your own show, and then you're forced to end the interview? As they say, such is the nature of cable television. But this isn't cable television, so I've got plenty of time to explain what Will Cain was so worried that his audience would hear at the hands of Texas State Representative James Tallarico. First off, Will Cain echoes this argument that we hear constantly, that the Democrats gerrymander just as much as Republicans, if not more. And they point to states like Illinois and Maryland, which, yes, are gerrymandered. But to that point, so too are North Carolina, Wisconsin, Utah, Florida, Texas, Ohio, all at the hands of Republicans. The difference here is, to Tallarico's point, only one party is engaging in mid-cycle redistricting for the express purpose of granting the God King his wish to consolidate power for his party in midterms. And the other difference, also to Tallarico's point, is that only one party wants to change it. The Democrats have tried to ban gerrymandering nationwide. Not a single Republican voted for it when the Democrats introduced H.R. 1. Not one Republican. So while both parties engage in it, let's be crystal clear about who wants the process to continue versus who wants the process to end. In fact, here's James Tallarico making that point in our most recent interview.
Texas Democrats are showing these blue state Democrats how to have a backbone, how to have a spine, how to meet this historic moment. You know, we're in the minority in Texas, but we are still using every single tool in our toolbox, including this quorum break, to fight for our constituents and honestly to fight for all Americans, people who aren't even our constituents, but who will be affected if Donald Trump is able to rig the next election and maintain his majority in Congress. But I also just want to say that I am proud to be a part of a party that still has principles, that still has a vision for this country beyond a descending spiral of partisanship. And I do believe that every single state should have a citizen-led independent redistricting commission. Politicians shouldn't be drawing their own lines. It's a conflict of interest. Politicians shouldn't be choosing their voters. Voters should be choosing their politicians. That is the vision, and we shouldn't lose sight of that vision. You know, when you stand up to bullies, it's pretty easy to become a bully yourself. And so I'm glad that we have this moral clarity about where we're headed. But as we said, that can't be possible if we are unilaterally disarming, if we are allowing Republicans to run all over us and rig the next election.
No unilateral disarmament. If Republicans want to end gerrymandering, all they have to do is sign onto legislation that every single Democrat would support, but they won't because they want to have it both ways. They want to complain that they're victims and also do absolutely nothing to fix it. This isn't a party that wants solutions. They are a party that only knows how to operate by cheating and then whining about it when they're called out. But the most important point was the one that Tallarico raised at the end, which ultimately prompted Kane to just end the interview. And that is this: if Republican policies are so popular, why don't they just run on them? And the reality is, they're not popular. And worse, Republicans know that their policies aren't popular. They know that they have royally fucked the people of this country. They know that stripping healthcare from 17 million Americans is unpopular. They know that stripping food assistance to the most vulnerable is unpopular. They know that firing thousands of veterans is unpopular. They know that engaging in a doomed trade war that sent the cost of literally everything higher is unpopular. They know that having lied about releasing the Epstein files is unpopular. Having lied about making IVF free is unpopular. Having lied about ending the Russia-Ukraine war is unpopular. Having lied about lowering inflation is unpopular. Having lied about bringing manufacturing jobs back to the United States is unpopular. And what's even more unpopular than all of that is that the only thing that these Republicans did bother expending their political capital on is a tax cut for themselves, handing Donald Trump a $1 billion jet from Qatar with retrofitting paid for by American taxpayers, and now a $200 million ballroom to be enjoyed by dear leader himself. Truly one of life's great mysteries how Republicans don't want to run on that platform. And so instead of running on their record, they're just looking to scientifically engineer permanent majorities for themselves and for Daddy Trump so that they never have to worry about actually earning support. If you're a Republican or independent or a non-voter out there, honest question: do you think this will make your leaders more responsive to your needs? Permanent one-party rule in the United States? Carte blanche for Donald Trump and his dickless sycophants in Congress and state legislatures doing whatever he says? Cutting your health care because he says so? Cutting food assistance because he says so? Moving to privatize your Social Security because he says so? Cutting veteran services because he says so? Entrenching our reliance on fossil fuels and dirty energy because he says so? All the while, there's no recourse when he uses the federal government as his own personal piggy bank, when he gifts himself billion-dollar jets and hosts $1,000,000 per plate crypto dinners and gifts himself a ballroom so that his life can be just a tad more opulent. So if you believed Trump when he ran his populist campaign the first time or the second time, now you see where his priorities actually lie. But worse, his power is derived from the fact that all of the people who can actually serve as a check to him are instead enabling and emboldening him. And that's only going to get worse as these impotent, spineless, obsequious Republicans in states like Texas and on Fox News, their propaganda shows, continue to help him consolidate full control of the United States government. All because they're too afraid of a mean tweet or losing their precious job. These people looked at a 250-year-old democratic experiment, small d democratic experiment, and decided me being in good standing with Donald Trump is more important than living in a free country. So I think I'll just go help this snake oil salesman from Queens because he's decided that he's entitled to more power. For a party that beats its chest as a bunch of alphas, they sure do act like a bunch of impotent little bitches. Before you go, if you enjoyed this content and you want to see more and support independent media, please subscribe to this channel. The subscribe button will be right here on the screen. But second, the reality is that we are now in a political environment where this administration can lean on any of the social media platforms to suppress certain voices if they don't like critical coverage. That means my longevity here is in the hands of a few tech billionaires who are already making it clear that they are willing to cater to this administration. To that end, signing up for my newsletter is a way for me to reach you directly if that ever becomes necessary. I'll put the link right here on the screen as well, so please sign up. It's free, but there's also an option to do a paid subscription if you'd like to support me and my team. I really appreciate it. Thanks so much for watching.